Put the guns down, man.
Summer of '92.
She said her first job was a blowjob.
I don't think that's legal. You know, I did the first.
All right, that's it.
Yeah, except bye everybody.
Thank you.
The first job I ever had where I was paid was, do you guys know that company Blue Mercury? It's like a cosmetic company. It was bought, it used to be this, I'm from Washington DC, and there was a place in Georgetown called Cosmetic Effects, and it was just like curated fancy cosmetics, and my mom was friends with the woman who started it, and I was her assistant, and she made me pick up dog shit, which I actually loved doing, so it wasn't that bad, but she was sort of not running the business very well, so I would have to get on the phone and lie to the vendors about why the check wasn't there, and
like do more research.
Really?
For our talk day, which is so amazing. What drew you to comedy? I mean, you studied communications. Did that have anything to do with, you know, your trajectory as a comedian? Like...
Yeah, I mean, I think that comedy, like any comedian, it all started with a bad childhood. You know, I didn't get a ton of attention as a child. I think very early I was like always trying to be seen, and I thought I was going to be a journalist actually, and I wasn't funny, or I didn't really know anything about comedy. I mean, it was my anesthesia. Like as a kid, like I watched like sitcoms, Roseanne, like that was like my religion.
Industry long enough do people trust that you know what you're doing, and you need to have. Ultimately, your intent should be in service of the business and the team. Like, if it looks like it's you just trying to get ahead and get promoted, people will shit all over you. Whereas if you truly show that you're, you know, in service of where the business is going, it's amazing how people will come behind you. So I have a whole chapter on it, and I really believe, like, don't be shy. Find those times, you're all gonna have them in front of you, where you actually jump up and proactively create business opportunities for yourself and your company, and that will propel you forward, for sure.
Thanks.
You did it.
Thanks for being here. Yeah. So I kicked off the last one with this question, but I do think it's a really good question, because where we get our start, I think, is a really important thing. And Tyler, I knew you had a job as a custodian in high school, which is amazing. And Emily, you interned for 3 days a week at Teen Vogue while you were at NYU. Each of you guys seems to have like an insatiable work ethic from a very young age. What do you attribute that drive to? Like, where did you get that from?
Cool. So I was a custodian, but the real reason why was I was really involved in sports, and I wanted to make team merch, and I couldn't stand kind of the Boulder High School team merch, and so I was a custodian at a screen printing company, and to be able to afford screen printing t-shirts for the team, I had to work after hours cleaning toilets and things. So that's where I got my start.
For me personally, I think looking at some of the articles, and like I know we're going to probably talk about this, like how we consume our news, but just this weekend I read an article about how the State Department was functioning now, that he's basically dismantled 100 years of what it took to build, and it wasn't partisan. It was how foreign service officers communicate in really dangerous places. And so I know that I was very depressed. I cried a lot. I cried at my job, and I actually ugly cry the first day after the election. I was supposed to have a 9 o'clock meeting, and I was like, you'd be fucking kidding me. You think I'm doing a 9 o'clock meeting? And it was all with dudes, and I was like, fuck it. You want to have a meeting? I'm gonna cry, ugly cry at the table, and I did, just like a heroin addict face. I was like, how do you like me now? Are you glad you kept this 9 o'clock meeting? So,
Being up till 2 in the morning that night, like wishing,
I
like,
didn't
oh God,
go to
they
bed.
can't. There's just
I didn't
gotta
go
be
to
a
bed. I was convinced it was gonna turn around. I know, sad. 2 things. So one, there's an entire chapter in my book on compassion. So thank you.
Tell us your book.
My book is called "Who Thought This Was a Good Idea," and it comes out in 2 weeks.
Can I pre-order it?
And you can pre-order on Amazon.
Oh, okay.
But it is
Part of supporting women.
It is part of supporting women, but it is. I wrote each chapter was a different characteristic, right? And one is compassion, and I write about Barack Obama, compassion and kindness, and when we got into the White House, you learn all the different things a president has to do in a day. And many of which break my heart because I know they're not happening now. And one of the things we found out is that every president has a partnership with the Make-A-Wish Foundation. And the president said that he wanted to do the most Make-A-Wish visits that had ever been done by any president. And President Bush had an excellent record, like he was really into this. And so first couple of months in, we started doing the visits, and we would try to do them before we went on a trip so that the family could go see Marine One take off and have like a really special day.
I found this one place that sold records, electronic music records on Newbury Street, and I kept hounding them for a job. And it's actually the first lesson that I learned was when you want something really badly, you have to keep asking and keep asking and keep asking. I remember getting emails back from their jobs alias that was like, mailbox is full, mailbox is full. So I kept sending, thinking that one of these days I would get through. And then finally I remember walking into the record store and being like, hey, I emailed you once, and he's like, no, you emailed me 50 times. So each of them had gone through, and I was like, well, at least I'm passionate, so he clearly took a bet on me, and I'm tall, obviously, as you can see. So not many people, when I was 18, knew that I was 18. They thought that I was older, and this helped me in a bunch of ways, but I basically got that job, sold records for a summer living, but also got to sneak into nightclubs when I was 18, which was not very good, like according to my parents, but it was a lot of fun, and I was really passionate about the music, but something about that world and design and craft and music all came together to actually push me out to San Francisco. The first reason why I came out to San Francisco was because I heard that it was the center of music and technology. And I remember when I landed getting out, do you know how many interviews I've done where they're like, what's the secret? Why did Instagram take off? I act like I know. I actually have a few reasons I think it did, but I'm gonna generalize the answer to answer your question, which is, how do you know when an idea is working or not? And like, how did we know? First things first, the best lesson I ever learned in Silicon Valley was like, learn quickly. If you're gonna fail, don't take like 2 years to learn you're gonna fail. Like learn as quickly as possible if the idea has product market fit. Meaning like, you've got a product, there's a market, does it fit, right? And the way to do that is get it in real people's hands. Even today when we launch features, we don't keep it back from people for too long, iterating and iterating and iterating. What we do is we actually like put it in research groups and we say, do you like this or not? But even then, sometimes it's a mixed signal because we have over 600 million people using the product, and it's all over the world. And like what works in LA may not work in Singapore. And so first thing is, do you have product market fit? Give it to people and learn quickly. The second thing I say to my team all the time is like, you can have ideas all day long, but unless they solve a problem for someone, it's not gonna work. And when I say solve a problem, has anyone ever heard the thing, what did you hire this milkshake for? Does anyone know this thing? All right, I'm gonna tell it. I know we're running low on time, but I'm gonna tell the story. So literally these researchers went, I think it was McDonald's, they didn't say, but McDonald's, and they kept asking people as they walked out, what did you hire that milkshake for if they ordered a milkshake? And the people would look at them like, what are you talking about? I didn't hire a milkshake, I'm just thirsty. And what ended up happening was they explained, no, like what job does that milkshake perform in your life? Like what problem is it solving for you right now? And what they realized was there were two distinct groups of people. There were early morning commuters that were drinking these milkshakes on the way into work. Why? Because it's like thick and you can drink it easily while you're driving it, you're not eating cereal, right? And then there was another group, and it was parents that basically had kids and they wanted to like have an afternoon snack with them. And by doing that, they realized what problem they were solving with that product, and then they split the product into two and then customized it so that they had the machines up and running and full in the morning for commuters, and then they designed I think a breakfast shake thing around it, and then they also did one for kids with smaller sizes. I always tell my team, like, what job are people hiring that product for? So if you come in and you say, hey, I think it's really cool to have face filters, right? Because I think that's awesome. What casting it to a lot of people. So by putting on a mask, you're actually much more comfortable. You think you're funny, right? It actually, no, it's true. Like, you think you're cute, right? So these things solve problems for people, And if you solve a problem for someone, and if you can name what problem you're solving specifically, I think you have a much higher chance of succeeding.
They're funny, and that I think is so important for us to be able to see it. It all started with that book, and that's what we fell in love with.
Super and Kay, so the book isn't a straight memoir, and the show is not a straight interpretation of the book. How did you guys take the source material, and what were some of the choices that you guys made in order to create an arc for the show?
Well, one of the challenges is that, if you really tear it down to what Sophia did, it's like she created an online company and sold vintage clothing, so it's a lot of her sitting in front of a computer, and that's not so exciting for people to watch. I'm sure you guys know. So before, what we had to do is like create the world and create obstacles and create, take things of like how she, as you know, when you read the book, that how she came up with the name of Nasty Gal as her company, and like find an interesting, cool way to dramatize that. And so before every episode, we say, we put in front of it, like, this is a loose retelling of true events, ... real loose. Because like her, her parents aren't like her parents. Her poor mother is gonna watch the show and be like, that's not me at all, and I hope no one thinks that.
Just a warning.
And like RuPaul plays her neighbor. So like they're, and it's a comedy. So it was actually really fun and exciting to sort of take this, what I always, and I've said this to you a bunch of times, like an extraordinary story that isn't a fairy tale, that has ups and downs, that has very dramatic moments, which our show also has dramatic moments for sure, and bring it to life in a cool, interesting, different way.
With such incredible talent is such a privilege. So I think that's like the biggest thing for me is just like, wow, I get to learn. I mean, I don't get to learn everything. I wasn't on set like all day, every day, but to see what it takes to really put a great show together, and a great cast together, and a great crew together, and a great writer's room. And everybody's here is like, it's no small feat, and it's done like all day, every day, over and over again, and like a lot of those shows don't get made, and it's just like such a fascinating world. So that's the coolest part, and I spend more time thinking about that than like and about how my mom's gonna feel about this character that doesn't represent her.
And I couldn't believe it was happening all day. Thank you all so much for flying across the world to be here and to meet one another. I hope you made some really great friends, and if you don't, I hope you have one drink and maybe that makes it easier for you. I want to thank our speakers and moderators. I want to thank you guys. Thank you for wrapping the day up with me and being the crescendo to what has been like such a great day. I want to thank our sponsors, Squarespace, Bumble, American Express, L'Oreal, Equinox, and Netflix. Our partners from The Gathering who produced this event, they like looked at like my book and like my Instagram and were like, okay, we'll just invent like an entire world like based on like stuff we've seen, and let's talk about it. And they've just done such an incredible job, so I want to thank them. Thank you guys. And this is like better than I could have dreamed. I really value your guys' feedback. We're gonna send you some kind of a survey. Fill it out if you want to. I really appreciate it because we want these to get better and better. This is our first. And of course, tag us on Instagram. So this is the first of many Girlboss rallies to come. I mean, I'm sure it'll be a little while before we can pull it off again, but I mean, maybe this year? I don't know. I've just been focused on this one, but yeah, thank you again so much for coming. What else? Check out girlboss.com. This is really long. It's Women's History Month. We're gonna do some cool stuff in 3 days that we have to like whip up starting on Monday. And yeah, just like, thank you. Here's a toast without a drink, like to all of you, to your futures, to our future, to another Girlboss rally, to your safe trip home, and to hopefully what has been a really inspiring day for you all. Really
So we just finished at the rally.
Yes, we did. I'm vlogging by, she's vlogging by together. It was so great. It was so inspiring. We're gonna go get our swag bags now, and I just walked in someone's picture. Oh my God, I hate that. we're gonna go get our swag bags now, so I'm gonna try to like show as much of that as possible because I think there's some really cool stuff in there that I want to show you guys. But we are leaving now. I think I lost Bianca. I don't know where she went. I'm gonna go find her. But it was so good. Thank you so much to Girlboss. Thanks Sophia and everyone else that was awesome that came here that spoke. I feel really inspired and I can't wait to edit this to show you guys. So I love you. Have a great day and I hope you enjoyed this vlog. Bye.